Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Steven versus the forces of Morty's Ladybubs. Wait, that's not right. Star versus the forces of evil, that's it. In this episode, we're taking a look at Season 1, Episodes 17 and 18, Freeze Day and Royal Pain. So, Steven Universe starts a week from today, and I kind of want to have Star finished by then. So I'm going to try, keyword there, try to have this show finished by then. We got 5 episodes left, 7 days. So while I do have a little margin of error, I don't want to cut it close. I want to have everything done soon. But again, I make no promises because I will fail. Freeze Day and Royal Pain, they're whatever episodes. I can't muster up the hatred for them that I normally could. But I also, I don't love them or anything. I'll admit Freeze Day is technically the better episode. Royal Pain definitely does have its problems. Again, it's always back to that fish out of water. When is it not fish out of water? God. And God, we still got another fish out of water one. But hey, next time we got a good episode. So, Freeze Day. It starts off with Marco's late for school. Because he has this tradition of just nodding at Jackie, which, God, it gets sad. And that's kind of a good thing. But Marco asks him or her to freeze time, which she just says easy peasy time freezy, and that just freezes time. I've never talked about Star's magic, because it's never really felt overpowered. Like, whenever they do a fight scene, it always feel like, she's going to win, but that's because it's a kid's show. I've never really felt like, oh, she's, super overpowered. But freezing time is pretty powerful, even if all she did was knock a guy off a wheel, which we'll get to. But they have a freeze day where they can go around and do anything because everyone's frozen in time except for the two of them. Now, I've talked about time travel before, and I hate time travel. Time travel is so easy to get wrong. Almost every time travel story screws it up in one way or another. However, there are other types of time travel stories that do have an easier time of getting it right. The Loop is one. Groundhog's Day, Majora's Mask. Even though technically Majora's Mask actually gets a lot wrong, but yet I love the game so much I don't care. But that's besides the point. Another one is the freeze, right? Where time is frozen and characters can do just whatever they want because time's frozen and nobody cares. That's honestly, out of every time travel story that exists, this is probably the easiest one to get right, just because time is frozen, and when time starts up again, it just starts up again. And how you get time right? Because the conflict of this one is how do they get time to start again, because when she tries to unfreeze it, it doesn't work. It doesn't really spend much time on the actual frozen day, because they just do a quick montage, which is kind of disappointing, but I also see where it's coming from. It's not like they really have that much to do in a frozen day, even though they spend 60 hours just partying and whatnot. But Star goes into the magical book of spells and finds out that to unfreeze time, they have to go to the planes of time and get it started again. They do a cutaway to this cat with a human face, which it reminds me of an anime. Was it Love Tyrant? I think it's Love Tyrant. Don't quote me on that one. But while at the planes of time, they find this wheel of time, which is like one of those hamster wheels, the type I'm talking about. And then they find Father Time, who isn't frozen in time, along with a bunch of other time animals, because he runs on the wheel to get time moving, but because All-Star's time freeze spell did was knock him off the wheel. So it really doesn't make her seem that much more powerful at all if all she did was knock a guy off of a wheel. And he does say later on that time is very easy to break, right? Time can be easily broken. And so we get so they want Father Time back on the wheel. He doesn't want to because he's finally off of the wheel and he can enjoy what it's like to be off of the wheel. He's playing in mud, right? They do a chase scene. It's not anything that special, honestly. The only interesting part is at one point they cross a river, and as they cross the river, it messes with their ages. that has potential. It kind of reminds me of that one Futurama episode where they go through, is it the pool of aging? It's like the reverse fountain of youth, I think. God, it's been a while. But yeah, and then they eventually end up at a place that shows them all of time. And we see Star's past and how that's gone. We see Marco's past, and Marco's past is just pathetic. He's just been waving at Jackie, or just nodding, I mean, for years, ever since they were kids. It's sad, and that's the point, right? The point is that it's supposed to be sad, because even though this is a Freeze Day episode, it's more about Marco and Jackie than it is about the actual Freeze Day. Again, I don't really care that much. But they're able to capture Father Time, and they look into his past and find out that all he's been doing is running since the beginning of time, basically. Which, yeah, his existence is sad, so they instead they give him a new one. They hook the wheel up to hamsters and have him drive it around. So that way he can go anywheres. Which inherently shows the problem of this time system, is that if you're going to just have someone run on a wheel to move time, you don't want it to have like sentience and be aware of its own existence. You want it to be a time hamster, really. It's a fatal flaw in the time system, but he does tell them that, yeah, time can break. Be careful, don't break time, right? It's dangerous. We'll see it again later on. And then, yeah, Marco goes back to where him and Jackie, where he nods, but he actually says hi, and that's it, and he freaks out because he talked to her. And then they always end on a joke. Time gets frozen again because, hey, it's Father Time. He can do whatever the hell he wants, right? I mean, it's true. It's a whatever. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. It's a very middle of the road episode. I like some of the ideas in it. None of the jokes are really that funny. I like the imagery. The plane of times is really cool. I like a lot of the backgrounds and a lot of the clocks, right? The Salvador Dali thing's the obvious comparison. But yeah, that looks good. Father Time's kind of weird, but it makes sense for the character they've set up. The Wheel of Time is... I'm trying to think of if I've seen something like it before. I think so, but I cannot think of any specific example, so I guess I'm fine with it. But yeah, it's a whatever episode. It could have been worse. And that worse is water. Royal pain. Starts off with a water slide, because they put a water slide, and everything's more interesting when Star's around. And Marco complains about wet socks, which is like a running theme joke throughout the episode. That is never funny, I might add. But eventually Star's dad shows up, and he's been kicked out of the castle because he's messy. I think that's what they're getting at, because, yeah, he creates a mess later on. And hey, Star and Richard, the King Richard, they're going to have a father-daughter day, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We see into Star's room, and she's basically got a fight club going on. That's the only good joke in the episode, I'd say, is the fight club. That works. Everything else doesn't, because the theme is fish out of water. Star knows kind of what's going on, and she's showing her father, but her father doesn't know what's going on. So now, they're gonna do all these wacky fish out of water things. They clog a toilet, they go mini golfing, and instead of like using a putter, he pulls out like a giant club, which, okay, I like the design. Which, okay, well, yeah, I hate fish out of water, and I hate fortune cookies last time. What makes this a little more tolerable is that through the process of not understanding thing, he ends up bringing endless destruction in his wake and burning down the mini golf place. That is admittedly more interesting than just, hey, let's follow the fortune cookies, praise be unto the fortune cookies. The endless destruction is more fascinating. But as time goes on, Star's getting sick of her dad, right? He's up fighting in the middle of the night, and she's just getting tired of it. Marco relates to being fed up. And then Star's dad reveals that he's staying and that he's gonna throw an epic party, because woohoo, why not? It's whatever. But we get a party, and yay, party. But of course, Star's sick of it. She wants the party to end. This giant Helios son, he's just a douchebag. That's it. That's all you need to know. He comes in and crashes the party, and he's threatening to destroy the world because, I don't know, every story with magical powers at some point needs a threat to destroy the world, and when every battle is a battle to destroy the world, none of them are. And Star, because of the running wet sock joke throughout the episode, Star ends up flooding the place, giving everybody wet socks. Well, except for the flying pony head, but hey. And now everybody leaves. She's burned down Helios, and hey, everything's good. They golf Helios away, because you gotta Chekhov's gun that shit. And that's where the episode ends of Richard going back, right, making things up, and then being like, the moral is, yeah, sometimes some surprises are okay sometimes, but other times you need warning for things. Chaos isn't always great, which they just blatantly state the moral. That's, I'm one of those people who believes that every story has a moral. Even stories without morals have a moral, that being that there is no moral. And yeah, sometimes it's fine to just state an episode's moral at the end, especially in like younger kids shows, the types I'm talking about. But here it's just it's clear there wasn't a lot going for this episode, so that's how they have to end it, by stating the moral. It's not forced or anything, it's just not that great. And yeah, this episode's just not that great. It's fish out of water. It's very annoying. And there are some of the good moments with Star and her dad, right? I like their interactions, but it's just whatever. It's not that great. Next time, if I'm correct, it's St. Olga's Reformed School for Wayward Princesses. Something we've been building up all season. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.